Ladies, listen up. The world is changing fast. But here's the truth. Successful women don't just survive, they dominate. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need luck. You need strategy, power, and unstoppable confidence. 2025 is your year. Your name will be remembered. Your success will be undeniable. But only if you play by these rules, and trust me, they will change your life forever. Underscore, are you ready to step into your power? Then let's go. Underscore people will doubt you. They always do. From the moment you decide to dream big, to break the rules, to walk a path they don't understand. There will be voices. Some will whisper, some will scream. Some will come from the world outside. And the worst ones? They'll come from within. Think about this. A little girl in school raises her hand, eager to answer a question. She knows the answer. She feels it in her bones. But before she speaks, she glances around. What if she's wrong? What if they laugh? What if someone else knows better? And in that split second, she lowers her hand. Silence wins. Now fast forward 10 years. She's in a meeting. She has an idea. A game changer. But she looks around. What if they reject it? What if they think she's too bold? What if someone says, that's not how things are done? And so she stays quiet. The opportunity passes. Someone else takes the risk. Someone else takes the credit. Someone else moves ahead. This is the curse of waiting for approval. It starts small. It feels harmless, but slowly it chains you. And before you even realize it, you're living a life designed by other people's expectations. Think about how many times you've held yourself back, waiting for someone to tell you, yes, you can. But here's the truth. No one is coming to give you permission. A man doesn't wake up and say, let me allow her to be powerful today. Society doesn't hand out approval slips to women who want to break barriers. Success doesn't send invitations. You take it, you claim it, you demand it. Look at the world's most powerful women. Did Oprah wait for someone to say, you're good enough to be on TV? Did Serena Williams wait for the world to say, you're allowed to dominate the sport? Did Beyonce ask for permission to run the music industry? No, they showed up. They took space. And the world had no choice but to take notice. You don't need to ask your friends if your dream is valid. You don't need to ask society if you're too ambitious. You don't need to wait for your family to understand your vision. They don't have to see it. They don't have to approve it. The only person who needs to believe in your journey is you. Imagine a woman who dreams of starting her own business. She's got the skills, she's got the fire, but when she tells people, they hesitate. Are you sure? What if it fails? What if it's too risky? And she starts questioning herself, what if they're right? So she waits. A year passes, 2 years, 5, and one day, she sees someone else doing exactly what she wanted to do. And she realizes, it was never impossible. It was just her fear that kept her small. And that's the real tragedy. Not failure, not rejection, but a life lived in hesitation, a life lived in waiting. There's a moment in every successful woman's life when she decides, enough, I don't need a green light. I am the green light. The moment you stop asking, can I, and start saying, watch me, that's the moment your life changes. Every great success story starts with a decision. A decision to stop waiting for validation. A woman sits in a room full of men. They talk over her. She waits for a pause, a chance, and then she realizes if she waits, she will never be heard. So she speaks. Not softly, not with hesitation, but with power. And suddenly, the room listens. A woman wants to travel the world, but her family worries. Is it safe? Is it a good idea? She almost lets their fear define her. Almost. But then she remembers, her life is hers alone. So she books the ticket. And she goes, and when she returns, she is no longer the same woman who left. She is freer, stronger, unstoppable. A woman loves differently. She chooses herself over toxic relationships, and people say, you're too picky, you will end up alone. But she knows, being alone is better than shrinking for someone who doesn't deserve her. Do you see the pattern? Every time a woman steps into her power, someone, somewhere will question it, doubt it, challenge it. But here's the secret. Their doubts don't define you. your decisions do. The moment you stop waiting for permission is the moment the world starts noticing you. Because confidence is louder than approval, power is stronger than validation, and a woman who moves without hesitation, she is unstoppable. Money is not just paper, it is power, it is freedom, it is the ability to walk away from situations that don't serve you. It is the strength to say, I don't depend on anyone. And yet, for generations, women have been told that money is not their concern, that success, wealth, and financial independence belong to men, that their job is to support, to adjust, to depend. But not anymore. Look around you. How many women stay in jobs they hate because they can't afford to leave? How many suffer in toxic relationships because they don't have the financial means to walk away? How many sacrifice their dreams because they were never taught how to build wealth? A woman with money is a woman with choices. And a woman with choices is a woman no one can control. Imagine two women. One is stuck in a job where she is underpaid, undervalued, and overworked. She knows she deserves better, but she is trapped. She has bills to pay. She has responsibilities. She cannot risk losing her only source of income. Now, imagine another woman. She has built her own streams of income. She has saved. She has invested. She has the power to walk into any room and say, I know my worth. And if they refuse to pay her what she deserves, she walks away because she can. That is the difference between financial freedom and financial dependence. One woman begs for opportunities, the other chooses them. A girl grows up watching her mother ask her father for money before making any purchase. Every time she wants something, she hears, ask your dad. And so she grows up believing that money belongs to men, that she must rely on someone else to survive, that she must be taken care of. Now, imagine another girl. She watches her mother run a business, manage finances, make investments. She sees a woman who never waits for someone to provide because she provides for herself. And so she grows up with a different mindset. She understands that money is not about luxury, it's about control. When a woman has money, she doesn't stay in places where she is disrespected. She doesn't tolerate relationships that drain her. She doesn't fear being alone because she knows she can take care of herself. And financial power is not just about earning. It's about knowing what to do with what you earn. A woman makes a good salary, but every month her money disappears. She spends on things she doesn't need. She doesn't save. She doesn't invest. And 10 years later, she is still struggling, still stuck, still waiting for something to change. Now another woman earns the same salary, but she thinks differently. She saves, she invests, she learns about money, about stocks, about real estate, about building wealth, and 10 years later, she is not just surviving, she is thriving. Money doesn't grow in a bank account. It grows when you use it wisely. A woman wins the lottery, overnight she becomes a millionaire. But within a few years, she is broke. Why? Because money without financial intelligence is temporary. Now, another woman starts with nothing, but she learns, she builds, she makes smart choices. And even with a small income, she grows her wealth because financial success is not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. A woman loves luxury. She buys designer bags, expensive shoes, and fancy clothes. She looks successful, but in reality, she has no savings, no investments, no assets. She is rich on the outside, but broke on the inside. Now, another woman focuses on building wealth first. She invests in herself, in her future. And when she finally buys luxury, it's not from her salary, it's from her passive income. She doesn't just look rich, she is rich. Financial freedom is not about luck, it's about strategy. It's about making money work for you. It's about learning, growing, and making decisions that your future self will thank you for. A woman in debt feels trapped. Every month, her paycheck disappears into bills and loans. She is constantly stressed, constantly struggling. She feels like she will never escape. Now, another woman avoids unnecessary debt. She lives below her means. She makes financial decisions with wisdom, not impulse. And because of that, she sleeps peacefully at night. A woman in her 20s thinks retirement is too far away to worry about. She spends without thinking of the future, and then one day, she is 50, she has no savings, no security, and she realizes she wasted decades waiting instead of preparing. No, 2 letters, 1 word. And yet, for so many women, the hardest thing to say. From childhood, girls are taught to be agreeable, to be polite, to say yes even when they don't want to smile even when they are uncomfortable, to accept, to adjust, to please. But where does that lead? A woman says yes to staying late at work because she is afraid to disappoint her boss. She says yes to doing extra tasks because she doesn't want to seem unhelpful. She says yes to plans she doesn't enjoy because she doesn't want to be rude. She says yes to a relationship that drains her because she's afraid of being alone. And before she knows it, her life is not her own. Now, imagine another woman. She says no to unpaid overtime because her time is valuable. She says no to doing work that is not hers because she knows her worth. She says no to social gatherings that exhaust her because she values her peace. She says no to relationships that bring her down because she chooses herself. That woman, she is unstoppable. Because the moment you start saying no to what doesn't serve you, you make space for what does. A young girl is taught that saying no is selfish. She grows up believing that refusing someone means she is unkind. So she keeps saying yes, even when she doesn't want to, even when it exhausts her, even when it destroys her boundaries. Now another girl is taught that saying no is powerful. She learns that no is not rejection, it is self-respect. And so she grows into a woman who chooses where her energy goes, who does not apologize for protecting her time, her mind, her soul. A woman's phone rings, she looks at the screen and sees a name she doesn't want to answer, but she picks up anyway. She listens, she agrees, she says yes, and she hates every second of it. Now another woman sees the same name and she lets it ring. She does not feel guilty, she does not feel bad, she understands that not everyone deserves her time. A woman is asked for a favor. She is already exhausted, overwhelmed, drowning in her own responsibilities. But she says yes because she doesn't want to upset anyone. She stretches herself thin, she takes on more than she can handle, and she suffers in silence. Now, another woman is asked for the same favor. She smiles and says, I wish I could help, but I can't. And that's it. No explanation, no guilt, no over-explaining. Because no is a complete sentence. A woman is in a relationship where she is unhappy, she feels unappreciated, unheard, unseen. She wants to leave, but she is afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of hurting someone else, afraid of what people will say. So she stays, she says yes to unhappiness. Now another woman is in the same situation. But she chooses differently. She says no. No to disrespect. No to being treated like an option. No to settling. And when she walks away, she doesn't just leave the relationship, she steps into her power. A woman is invited to an event she doesn't want to go to. She forces herself to dress up, to go, to smile, to pretend. She tells herself it's just one night, but inside she is drained. Now another woman gets the same invitation and replies, thank you, but I won't be able to make it. She does not feel the need to explain. She does not feel the need to justify, because she knows her time is precious. A woman's co-worker asks her to cover a shift. She wants to say no, but she is afraid of being seen as difficult. So she says yes. She sacrifices her own time for someone else's comfort. Now another woman is asked the same thing. She simply says, I can't. And she moves on. A woman receives a text from someone who always drains her energy. She feels obligated to respond, to keep the conversation going, even though she knows it leads nowhere. Now, another woman gets the same text and does something radical. She doesn't reply. She understands that not every message needs an answer. Not every call needs to be returned. Not every person deserves access to her. A woman is pressured into making a decision she is not comfortable with. She hesitates. She feels the weight of expectations, of judgment, of fear. And so she agrees, even when every fiber of her being screams no. Now, another woman is in the same position, but she trusts herself. She stands firm. She looks people in the eye and says, no, this is not right for me, and she walks away. The difference between these two women? One lives on other people's terms, the other lives on her own. Saying no is not rejection, it is redirection. It is choosing yourself over obligation. It is valuing your time, your energy, your peace. It is understanding that you are not here to please everyone. You are here to be true to yourself. A woman is not just the sum of her dreams. She is the reflection of the people she surrounds herself with. Imagine walking into a room where every person radiates ambition, intelligence, and confidence. Imagine conversations that leave you inspired instead of drained. Friendships that push you forward instead of holding you back. That is the power of your circle. Too many women shrink themselves to fit into spaces that no longer serve them. They hold on to friendships out of history, not alignment. They tolerate negativity because they fear loneliness. They spend their time around people who gossip, complain, and settle for less until, without realizing it, they start doing the same. Now imagine another woman. She surrounds herself with thinkers, doers, risk takers. She sits at tables where success is not envied but expected, where ideas are born, not buried, where every person at the table wants to see her win. And because of that, she grows. A woman walks into a room full of people who make her feel small. She listens to conversations filled with jealousy, pettiness, and doubt. She tries to talk about her dreams, but they laugh. That's too risky, they say. Who do you think you are? They mock. And so she starts to doubt herself. Maybe they're right. Maybe she should just stay where she is. Now another woman walks into a different room. A room filled with women who talk about investments, business, and personal growth. When she shares her dreams, they don't laugh. They ask, how can we help? They share resources, connections, encouragement. And suddenly she believes in herself more than ever before. A woman finds herself in a group where everyone talks about others, but no one talks about ideas. She listens to hours of gossip, criticism, and negativity. She leaves every conversation feeling drained, uninspired, and empty. She wonders why her confidence is fading, why her dreams seem further away than ever. Now, another woman is in a different group. Here, people celebrate each other's wins instead of whispering about them behind their backs. They share knowledge instead of spreading rumors. They speak about building, growing, evolving. She leaves every conversation feeling energized, motivated, unstoppable. A woman stays in friendships where she is the smartest, the strongest, the most ambitious. She carries everyone else on her back, always giving, never receiving. But instead of feeling empowered, she feels exhausted. Instead of growing, she feels stuck. Now, another woman chooses differently. She seeks out people who challenge her, who force her to level up. She is no longer the biggest fish in the smallest pond. She is in an ocean of possibility. And because of that, she rises higher than she ever imagined. A woman confides her goals to a friend who secretly envies her. Instead of encouragement, she is met with skepticism. Are you sure you can handle that? Maybe you should wait. What if you fail? And suddenly, doubt creeps in. Now, another woman shares her vision with someone who believes in her. You can do this, go for it, I believe in you. And suddenly her confidence multiplies. Because the right people don't just support you. They remind you of who you are when you forget. A woman continues to surround herself with those who make her comfortable, not those who make her better. She stays in a place where nothing changes, where dreams are dismissed, where mediocrity is the norm, and so she stays the same. Now another woman understands that growth is uncomfortable. She seeks out mentors who have already walked the path she wants to travel. She learns from those who are wiser, more experienced, more successful. And because of that, she accelerates her own journey. A woman remains in relationships where her ambition is seen as a threat, where she is told to dim her light, to stay small, to not intimidate others. Now another woman walks away from those who cannot handle her fire. She builds a circle where ambition is not a threat, it is a requirement. Where being too much is never an issue. Where her success is celebrated, not tolerated. A woman spends years trying to change the people around her, waiting for them to evolve, hoping they will catch up. But they don't. Now, another woman realizes she cannot change anyone, but she can change her environment. She stops waiting for others to grow and starts surrounding herself with people who already have. A woman who surrounds herself with weak, insecure, and fearful minds will never reach her full potential. But a woman who builds a circle of power, who surrounds herself with visionaries, leaders, and winners, she will become unstoppable. A woman walks into a room wearing the most expensive designer dress, flawless makeup, and heels that scream luxury, but something is missing. She fidgets, avoids eye contact, and hesitates with every step. People glance at her, but they quickly look away. Now another woman enters. She wears a simple outfit, nothing extravagant, nothing flashy, but she walks like she owns the ground beneath her feet. Her head is high, her gaze is steady, her presence is undeniable. People turn, they watch, they lean in, because confidence is louder than fashion. Confidence is the best outfit you will ever wear. The most beautiful thing about confidence? It doesn't cost a single dime. Yet it is the most valuable thing you can own. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked for long. You can wear the most expensive clothes, carry the trendiest bags, drive the flashiest car, but if you don't believe in yourself, people will feel it. On the other hand, you can wear a plain white shirt and jeans, but if you walk with self-assurance, you will command attention. The secret is simple. The way you see yourself is the way the world will see you. Picture a woman at a corporate meeting. She has prepared for weeks, but the moment she stands up to speak, she doubts herself. Her voice trembles, she looks around nervously, she rushes through her words, and so no one listens. Now imagine another woman in the same meeting. She may not have all the answers, but she speaks with certainty. She makes eye contact, she owns her space, she believes in every word she says. And because of that, people believe in her. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about carrying yourself with the quiet assurance that you are enough. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to seek approval. You don't need to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. A woman who is sure of herself doesn't beg to be liked. She commands respect simply by being who she is. Imagine a woman walking into a restaurant alone. She is conscious of people staring, she feels awkward, she fidgets with her phone to avoid eye contact. Her body language screams discomfort. Now imagine another woman in the same situation. She sits down with ease, takes her time choosing her meal, enjoys her own company. She doesn't need validation from anyone around her. And that self-assurance makes her magnetic. Confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about trusting yourself enough to figure things out. The woman who waits until she is perfect before she takes action will stay stuck forever. The woman who moves forward despite her doubts will build the life she wants. Think of a woman who wants to start a business, but she keeps delaying because she fears failure. She spends years preparing, but she never launches. Now imagine another woman with the same dream. She doesn't have all the answers, but she starts anyway. She learns, she adapts, she grows, and because she dares to take the first step, she gets ahead. Confidence is not arrogance. It is self-respect. It is knowing that you deserve to be in the room, that your voice matters, that your presence is valuable. Picture two women entering a high-end boutique. One is hesitant, she looks around nervously, she feels like she doesn't belong. The other walks in like she owns the place. Not because she is rich, not because she is famous, but because she understands that no one in that room is better than her. The way you carry yourself is the way people will treat you. If you act like you are unworthy, people will believe it. If you act like you belong, the world will adjust to you. A woman who enters a negotiation already doubting her worth will walk away with less than she deserves. A woman who knows her value will not settle for anything less than what she is worth. Think of a woman at a social event. She looks around at all the well-dressed, successful people and suddenly feels small. She shrinks into the corner, convincing herself that she doesn't fit in. Now imagine another woman in the same room. She reminds herself that no one here is better than her. She steps forward, she introduces herself, she owns her space, and that simple shift in mindset changes everything. Confidence is built in the moments when you choose yourself, when you refuse to let fear make decisions for you. The woman who waits for the world to validate her will be waiting forever. The woman who validates herself, who walks with certainty, who owns her power, she will be unstoppable. She stood in front of the mirror, staring at herself, questioning everything. The business she started collapsed. The relationship she invested years in ended. The dream she chased slipped through her fingers. Failure had knocked her down. And now she had two choices. Stay down and let the world win, or rise up and show them that she is made of something they can't break. The world has conditioned you to fear failure. They tell you to play it safe, to avoid risks, to stay in your comfort zone. But here's the truth. Every woman who has ever achieved greatness has failed. Spectacularly, publicly, painfully. The difference between an ordinary woman and an extraordinary one? The extraordinary woman gets back up faster. She doesn't sit in self-pity. She doesn't replay her mistakes 1,000 times. She falls, but she refuses to stay down. Imagine a young woman launching her first business. She invests everything she has, her savings, her time, her energy. But within a year, it crumbles. People whisper, she wasn't ready, she should have known better. Now she has a choice. Let their words define her, or take the lesson and try again. The woman who fears failure will quit. But the woman who understands that failure is a stepping stone will come back stronger. She will analyze what went wrong, adapt and rise. The second time, she will be sharper. The third time, she will be unstoppable. Think of a woman in a toxic relationship. She gives her heart, her soul, her time only to be betrayed. She feels broken, unworthy, afraid to love again. But the woman who rises faster understands this. The failure of a relationship is not the failure of who she is. She learns, she heals, she grows. She doesn't close herself off, she becomes wiser. The next time she loves with strength, with clarity, with self-respect, and that is how she wins. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the foundation of it. The sooner you fail, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the sooner you succeed. Picture a woman who dreams of being a speaker, but she stumbles over her words the first time she stands on stage. People laugh and she walks off embarrassed. Now, one version of her quits, telling herself, I'm not meant for this. But another version of her, she watches the recording, studies her mistakes, practices harder and returns. And when she speaks again, the same people who laughed are now in awe. There is no strength in avoiding failure. There is no power in playing it safe. The woman who wins in life is the one who dares to fail the hardest, the one who takes risks, the one who understands that every setback is just a setup for a comeback. She knows that the faster she falls, the faster she gets up. And the faster she gets up, the sooner she reaches her victory. Imagine a woman applying for her dream job. She prepares, she interviews, she hopes, but she gets rejected. Instead of taking it as a sign to stop trying, she refines her approach, learns from her mistakes, and applies again. Maybe she faces 10 rejections, maybe she faces 20, but on the 21st attempt, she lands the job of her dreams. And when people call her lucky, she will smile, knowing that luck had nothing to do with it, resilience did. The women who change the world are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to let failure define them. Oprah was fired from her first job. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. Veera Wang failed to make the Olympic figure skating team before she became one of the most powerful women in fashion. They did not crumble. They did not give up. They failed fast. They rose faster. And so will you. Picture a woman training for a marathon. She runs her first 5K and she barely finishes. Her lungs burn, her legs shake, and she thinks, I can't do this. But instead of stopping, she trains harder. She runs again, she pushes herself, and each time she gets a little better. The day she crosses that marathon finish line, she will look back and realize the pain, the struggle, the failures, they were all necessary. The moment you stop fearing failure is the moment you become dangerous. Because a woman who is not afraid to fail is a woman who will achieve anything she sets her mind to. She will love boldly, chase her dreams fearlessly, and step into every room with the power of someone who has already won. The world respects a woman who refuses to break. The world bows to a woman who rises again and again. She walks into the room, shoulders back, head high. Every step she takes demands attention, not because she seeks it, but because she owns it. And when she speaks, people listen, not because she's loud, but because she speaks with power. Every word she chooses carries weight. Every sentence is laced with conviction. She is not just speaking, she is commanding. She is not just talking, she is leading. This is the kind of woman the world cannot ignore. A woman whose words and actions are aligned with purpose, who moves with intention, who never speaks just to fill the silence, but to create an impact. She knows that the most powerful tool she possesses is not her appearance, not her connections, not even her intelligence. It is her voice, and how she uses it determines everything. Picture a woman in a meeting, surrounded by men who dismiss her opinions, who talk over her as if her words hold no value. Most women would shrink back, let their voices fade, afraid of confrontation, but not her. She leans forward, makes eye contact, and when she speaks, her voice is steady, firm, undeniable. I have an idea, she says, and suddenly the room falls silent. Not because she demanded it,